Greetings, good people. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. Hoping you're doing good and you're being good. Now, what is happening in Zimbabwe? Is the situation about to get bad, or things are about to get better? We're seeing chaos, excess chaos happening in Zimbabwe. So recently there's been news and speculation that the Vice President Chiwenga has been missing or has gone missing. The question I would ask is, was VP Chiwenga missing, or people were simply missing him? Now we're seeing him emerge. Not on this image we are seeing on the screen right now. We see a regalia here captioned Comrade Mabo Chinomona for Vice President. No, we see him emerge here. Of course, it is Monom Tapa offices. And we see this one here by the Zim papers. They write, Indian industry delegation meets Vice President Chiwenga to discuss economic collaboration. Then we see the guys there are pose for a photo session. All right, so what is the India delegation here doing? And this regalia we are seeing with the face of Mabel Chinomona. What led to the speculation that Vice President Chiwenga has been missing? Now, of course, he once went missing when he was in China, health issues. Then we see him in the month of May 2024 again. He would go for checkups in China there. So there's a lot of questions we're going to be covering here. Some questions are like this one here. What are the implications of Chiwenga's absence on the military's loyalty to President Emmerson Mnangagwa? How would that affect the military's loyalty to Mnangagwa? Should there be an absence of VP Chiwenga? And the other question is, remember, VP Chiwenga is no longer serving as a military officer in office. How has Chiwenga's absence affected the Zimbabwe military? How has this affected Zimbabwe's military? What is the difference in type of operation from when Chiwenga was there and now? Remember when Chiwenga was the military general, he was said to be a notorious character who meddled in politics. So he wouldn't begin politics in the year 2017. No, he will begin earlier on than that. All right, back to this one here. We see again the Herald Zim papers again. They write, multi-sectoral Indian business delegation jets in. Now, Herald is where we can get primary information, right? Either on what is happening or what propaganda is being spread wherever. Anyways, I'm just being sarcastic. Are they? I'm just being real, not being fake like plastic. Enough respect to everybody who is watching us live right about now. To those watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat that I can see and so I can give my shout out. Enough respect to Mary Rocha says, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Dumisani Ngungu, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Sachmo Mano Mano, Newton Gweme, yes sir. Says, hi Zimbabweans, wish you all the best. I bless you there. Wish you all the blessings from the Most High God. So what do we find here in this broadcast by the Zim papers? Herald. What are they heralding here? All right again. They would write an Indian business delegation that is in the country to scout for local business opportunities has met Vice President Dr. Constantino Chiwenga. The Indian captains of industry, fund managers, and entrepreneurs took huge interest in Zimbabwe investment opportunities after listening to a compelling pitch by VP Chiwenga at a recently held Africa Conclave on India-Africa Partnership in New Delhi. The delegation is also scheduled to visit other African nations. The visit by the Indian business delegation comes at a time when the Asian economy, behemoth, which is the world's fifth largest economy, is angling to ramp up its investment foothold in the African continent and in the country. Indian ambassador to Zimbabwe, Brahma Kumar, said some members of the delegations are prepared to immediately set up shop in the country through partnerships with companies. So we see that Vice President Chiwenga would meet with these guys in India. Now, when he was said to be missing, was he in India? When did he go to India? When did he visit? When did VP Chiwenga visit India? Let's continue to see if we do find out here. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live right now. To those watching us live, write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat. That's how I can get see your name so I can give you my shout out. Enough respect there. So rather, there is no information when he went to India, but we're seeing these images here. They are posted. Indian industry delegation meets Vice President Chiwenga. So basically what this article is doing, they're doing what a newspaper does, which is write news. But at the same time, following the news of Chiwenga missing or people missing him, there had to be a presence coming from him or not necessarily coming from him. Would we say this one is coming from VP Chiwenga, or rather it's just journalists? Anyways, he's a VP, and obviously journalists will be getting news, right? So here we're seeing images, their image that is at his office, the Monomtapa office is there, and we're seeing them pose for images. Now, in these images, we're seeing this detailed image. How many Indian guys are there? So, when VP Chiwenga would be returning from China, when he recovered from his long stint of illness in 2021, we see him come back to Zimbabwe, now looking like a yellow bone, right? And he shows up with a lot of Chinese delegation. And on the Chinese delegation, we see Chiwenga is with a guy called Zhao Baogang. Right, we see him with Zhao Baogang, and they would pose for an image. Right, he poses with China Deputy Ambassador to Zimbabwe, Mr. Zhao Baogang, as we are seeing here in 2021. Then he would be with a lot of Chinese guys, delegations. At that time, he would arrive in Zimbabwe. So on one image here, we see him here, sitting with the guy there, Zhao Baogang. What were they talking about there? Anyways, we will come back here. We see him arrive. Then we see him greetings with ED and Mai Mnangagwa. Right now, we're seeing him in Zimbabwe again, emerging from absence. Either absence from the nation, absence from the public spotlight, or missing or being missed. The reactions and the allegations, the speculations are all mixed. But is it complicated? We are here to simplify it, to see what has been implicated. Now we see him here, as earlier on indicated, with guys from India. How many guys do we see in this photo? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Let's just say 14. Okay. A huge team there of Indian guys. Then we see them here again for images. When they're shaking hands, these are hands of a completed deal. But the people who are behind VP Chiwenga, just take a look at their body language. What this body language suggests is only VP Chiwenga knows what's going on here. These guys, they're surprised by what they have witnessed there, whatever it is. So here, this image is captioned: the visiting group comprises business leaders from various sectors, including agro-processing, manufacturing of agricultural equipment, pharmaceuticals, and information and communication technology, ICT. A major aim of the meeting is to explore opportunities and collaborations and investment in Zimbabwe's growing economy, particularly in key sectors that are vital for national development. The CII's visit comes at a time Zimbabwe seeks to strengthen its industrial base and attract foreign investment. The expertise of the group in the agro-processing and technology aligns with Zimbabwe's goals to improve agricultural productivity and enhance pharmaceutical sectors. So we're seeing here VP Chiwenga is still a factor in the health sector from the time we see him, sometimes becoming a health minister. All right. And then the Zimbabwe military has a school of technology. I'm forgetting the name, but there's a lot of programs there that are modern, really fresh to Africa. What are the guys there doing? Anyways, what do we do here? What's happening here? We find this post made. ZANU-PF in a drama. Right, so this is supposed to be a caricature of ZANU-PF in Daba. ZANU-PF in a drama. Mabel nga agare pasi. Who is she replacing in the party's presidium? Whoever came up with this is dull, because they are setting up Mabel against her colleagues in the women's league. It will be her fall down. All this is done to fight General Chiwenga, but munokuwara komana regezai hadisi nodoidzi. Then we see an image. We see what? Regalia, Mabel Chinomona Regalia there. Anyways, let us watch the video so we can get the tally. Yeah. So mungwe aona video ye Regalia ya Mabel Chinomona zikanza there's a good talk. Anyways, let's rewind it and watch it closely. Now, if we listen to the background audio there, the white noise that is coming from there, it sounds like an office. This office has light equipment, not heavy industrial equipment. Now, this office, whoever is printing this regalia, they are not doing it via another company or somebody else. It will be somebody who has purchased the equipment to be doing that printing there. We're seeing on the shirt there, Comrade Mabel Chinomona for president. Now, if we compare to the recent video where we saw Chiwenga Regalia also this one. Both these shirts were printed by the same person. It is the same person who would print these shirts. It is the same designer who would do the designing. We are seeing sublimation printing again. We are seeing the same pattern of design there. What would be different is a font, and this person is not a seasoned designer, but is somebody who can design above average. Right? They're not necessarily exceptional. They don't have their own identity in terms of designing, right? But not having their own identity, they would still have their own pattern. Identity, I mean, what makes them tick, what makes them different, that tick sparkle. So we see here, let me just put it to full view here. This one is Comrade Mebo Chinomona for president, right? Then the Chiwenga one. Okay, let me just get the other image, the other clearer image. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live. Keep your comments coming. Enough respect to everybody watching us there. Let me just look for the Chiwenga image there. Which folder would I put the image? Okay. All right, this is the one with the regalia. So here we're seeing the one Gouver, it's white. Then this guy would post wearing a black one, right? So we see this Gouver, General, Bay, and Hullet. It is 3 lines. Here we're seeing it's 3 lines. Again, the image is cropped, cut out the background there. Same type and pattern we're seeing there on the Mabel Chinomona video there. Then when we look at the hue of the video quality, the saturation, right? Of course, when it's cold, different depending on the type of light that is there, it will be bluish, right? Now this one is even more defined. There is a purplish tone on both images. This image and the other image, and then the Chiwenga video here. There is the same color texture, suggesting that these images are emerging from the same source. So this is a speculation of mine, right? But however, let's just say it's wrong. Let's take it as it's from different sources. If it's from different sources, why would the other source be now printing the Mabel Chinomona for vice president? Number one reason why they would be doing that, right? If the Mabel Chinomona for vice president case is serious, they wouldn't need to print the shirt for it. It would be somebody advocating, right? Because you don't vote for vice president, there is no need for shirt, right? She is not in succession battles, so she doesn't need to be mentioned. This can be done when you're dealing with a kid and you want to threaten a kid. I can do this, you keep quiet. That is if the alleged kid will be doing the speaking, right? Or somebody who has nothing to do is just playing games. Or this may be for the very same reason that the Chiwenga Regalia video may have been leaked, to see how the people respond. So ZANU-PF has professors. At one time we would see them hire type of people like Ari Ben Menache, right? People who are skilled in skill, right? Remember, in Russia we have spies, right? Also in the United States of America, we have their intelligence, right? And these ones will be dealing with the CIA staff. Now there's political intelligence. Political intelligence. These gents deal in strategy. They are the Sherlock Holmes of politics and calculating active philosophy and reading the social environment. People are going to act like this. You know, the type of people we would see propagating propaganda, like the type of propaganda we would see in Zimbabwe during the times of Jonathan Moyo, where Zimbabwe would be like the nation of Rwanda during a wartime. Now, speaking of war times, Zimbabwe is in chaos. And if we're not careful, this situation may escalate, either real or perceived. We see a bomb blow at one of the big wigs in ZANU-PF, who runs the Zimbabwe Institute of Legal Studies. The offices of Goodwill Masimirembwa and his security guard would be attacked and bent with a petrol bomb. Why would that happen? Coincidence, yes. Coincidence means two things that happened around the same time. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. Are they related or not related? Would be the question. Why would somebody be interested in bombing Goodwill Masimirembwa? Okay. Goodwill Masimirembwa, one other reason that may not be political is we see him embroiled in a broil with a Ghanaian investor over 6 million. Right? There's allegations of $6 million bribe of him having gotten a $6 million bribe. But this would be during the days of Robert R.G., the OG, Mugabe. Panobula nyaya, yes, $6 million. Iningia ka targeta this Goodwill Masimirembwa guy. Right? So, maybe, kanaga vala 6 million jema sure. Right? But would they do that to his school? It is school. It's not necessarily government offices. So that is the other possible. And then politics. What has this guy been doing in politics? Has he been active? So this guy is a business person. He is not a dog that is sent to bark at people. Right? So when I'm saying a dog, I mean dogs as in people, not necessarily just like hyenas. Like when Edie says hyenas, they're dogs also. He knows the dogs. Right? Because he sends them. So the type of dogs that be barking. So this guy is a professor. He's not the type of a guy who would be a dog barking, but he would be actually a processor. So it is said that this guy was talking about amending the constitution, right, to enable the 2030 program. Again, if that is the case, who would be doing that? In reality, in life, as we are seeing emerge, there are factions which are not being led by the people which each faction is claiming to be loyal to. Now, of course, you're allowed to love whoever you love. You're allowed to be fan. But they are fanatics who can do anything for whoever they be supporting. And anything, I mean everything. Nothing is excluded. They can do anything, including doing nothing or something, but something, everything possible to be can be done. Enough respect to Arnold Nodi, says hello there. Fortunate Terence Nemazi, hi doc to all and all Zimbabweans. Greetings, good people. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us. Hoping you're doing good, keeping good, and being good. Yes, God is good. If we do good, then we attract good. Yeah. And the first good should be unto thyself. The word of God says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. You first love yourself. Then Jesus says, I came to test the family. I came to turn brother against sister, brother against mother. I came to test the family, right? And it would say, honor your father and your mother for your days to be increased on this earth. Don't want to walk with tanga. Panika panapa. Kumungende wupi. How about your relationship with your own brother? So, loyalty to yourself first, to your family, then to else. We should just remember that. Remember, as we are meeting right here, we are fellowshipping, so we share some words apart from these politics. Now, Jimmy Wekomalo Chalembano says, hope you're well from Cape Town. I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Yes, we are seeing God at work here as the devil is being defeated every single moment. Big up to Dixon, watching there. It's about Brooklyn, Mugove, Chitembure. Yes, Mnyarazi Makaza. Usiku India, uku iwe itzim monomtapa offices. Usiku India, uku iwe itzim monomtapa offices. Okay, I do get the message there. That is a very big possibility. Things like that happen, and I'm afraid that they're still happening. But Zimbabweans must wise up. We have seen some Zimbabweans now wising up to the extent of going to other countries and starting their companies there. Then they employ their people of a different skin color. Now, I don't like to be talking about people's skin color or tribes, because I'll be called a tribalist. If I'm talking of people's color, I'll be called a colorist. If I'm talking of people's nations, I'll be called a nationalist. So let me just not talk about it. But people who look different skin, okay, the yellow bones from the bone yellow bones from other countries, the white bones, okay, the other bones, okay. When we see those guys from other nations, tikaona murungu, kazhinji maAfricans tinoita dzungu, tobva tati ndi investor, but murungu iye anogona angatosenzera muZimbabwe akatomuemploy ikoko kuti uyu akuno kutore dhiri iri, toda kuita katenda kari soft and tender, tichakarwa softly and tender because isusu tiri mahard, right? Vogona kutozovhara mavice president anachiwengera nakembo muhard, right? Isu tobva tauya panapa tichichauda pamicrophone kungana James Maridadi. Anyways, let's continue. Dekaya watching us live. Say keep up the good work. Perpetual makoto. Vasi kuzivana here vano ava. Kuda kungovaraidza makore achifamba. That is very highly possible there. Because we are talking of adults here. The two questions that we did ask on the beginning of this video. This question: what are the implications of Chiwenga's absence on the military's loyalty to Mnangagwa? And how has Chiwenga's absence affected the Zimbabwe military? A big up to Lloyd Chidea, who says, boy, thank you very much. There, Turamba Takajanya. Yeah. Now, we see Chiwenga missing at one point, 2021 July, that's when we would leave Zimbabwe under very serious condition. And we did a broadcast on TV7 Live where I said this guy is going to be well now. He is going to be okay, right? Obviously, they will do chelation therapy on him following the poisoning. That is what would help this guy if they would do chelation therapy on him. That time when he was sick, doctors were diagnosing him wrong, misdiagnosing, not understanding epithelium or just ignoring what epithelium is, right? Looking at the organs that were affected, right? So it was a lipophilic toxin that was in his system there. That's why we saw that yes, this thing, not trachea, esophagus being affected, right? And things like that in the other organs. Now at one time where he does etc., it was now getting to his brain, and he was now in dysmetria and things like that. Then from then he will go to China military hospital, and he comes back clean, system clean, nothing will be clinging into his epithelium cells. Now the social media has been a buzz whereabouts. Now we're seeing him here. Official denials, we're seeing official denials. Right now, the political context of him missing, or the news of him missing, right? This is coming amid tensions. But when one is said to be missing, that on its own is a strategy to get support. So we wouldn't mention the reasons. The reasons why it would be missing would be in 2000, from 2019 medical reviews in China, and then health concerns obviously are acknowledged by the government. He has a previous medical history. He usually goes for regular checkups, just like anybody else would be doing if there's somebody who is privileged or privy to do that. So when he was absent, how did that affect the government at that time when we would see him really absent when he was in China? He is not replaced as vice president. In fact, there will be claims that there is an attempt on Chiwenga's life. That alone makes us recall this, that Chiwenga did not resign from his rank. He resigned from a job which he would get after independence, because before independence Chiwenga is not employed by the Zimbabwe National Army, and he is already in the military with his ranks, and the ranks will be growing. So the issue of him working in military, this thing we call loyalty. No, I'm not a military man. I'm a man of God. Okay. Now, public speculation and political tension when he was missing from that time. Then there's criticism from opposition. We see the opposition movement for democratic change criticizing Chiwenga's frequent trips outside for health as broad failure of the government to address the systematic issue within the Zimbabwe's healthcare. Right? Then operational challenges. 2024, another time he will be missing in May. So it seems people will take notice when Chiwenga is not there. Now that's serious and touching there and powerful actually. He makes a medical trip May 11, 2004. Impact on public events. His absence has raised concerns as he missed 3 important events attended by President Emerson Mnangagwa, prompting inquiries about his health and whereabouts. The government has attempted to quell speculation by emphasizing that Chiwenga is receiving necessary medical care. But anyways, just before this alleged missing or the short missing, we had seen him moving everywhere with President ED. We see him at HICC at one event where they are vetting some school science project, right? We see them move to Vic Falls again together, right? In a whole lot of events before this news of Chiwenga missing would vent. Now, how about the Zimbabwe military? How has Chiwenga's absence in the military affected? There's leadership and command dynamics. Chiwenga, a former military general, has been a significant figure in the Zimbabwe military political nexus in Zimbabwe. Take note, military political nexus. His absence from public life and key events may create uncertainty within military ranks regarding command structure and loyalty, right? If he no longer communicates with him, at one point when he was vice president, we would see him be operating from one of the military bases. Then, is there increased tension between military and political leadership? From the military side, which military leaders have been political in their own right, speaking in their own right, being their own person, their own identity, right? Increased tensions between military and political leadership, is it there? So VP Chiwenga, when he was a military general, I think he's the Zimbabwean most popular military general, as in most popular at the time of their general being general. Yes, some big wigs remain big, right? And remain figures, important figures in Zimbabwe. But this one would be popular, as in popular. Like celebrity type of popular. Speculation of military involvement in politics. We can't deny the military is involved in politics, right? President Emerson Mnangagwa's Sona address, He then confirms the issue of the military being there to safeguard the nation and territorial integrity. On that same section, I think it's 212 of the Constitution, it says it is the duty of the military to uphold the Constitution. To uphold does not mean to follow. To uphold means to make to follow. To uphold means to enforce, to ensure that it is followed. So, mentioned in the Constitution of Zimbabwe, it is one paragraph that talks about the roles of the military. It is less than 7 lines long, right? And it mentions the duty to uphold the Constitution. The military is there to protect the nation. The nation is the people, the human being. Nationality, I'm a Zimbabwean. We are the nation. A church is not a building. The nation is not this land. This is territory. This is terrain. The nation is the people. The state is the government, ministers, states. That's why they give a State of the Nation address. The state is the government, right? The ministers, the president, etc., etc., and how they run the system. That is the government. The nation is the people, the sovereign and individual, right? Republic of Zimbabwe, an individual is an individual. There's no demagoguery. Like, when wakawanda waskuirana na uyu saka uyu aite, no. In a republican, right? A republican is different from a country. This is a republic of Zimbabwe. And we have Zimbabwean nationals in here. So the military protects the life of the people. Territorial integrity, the land. Recently we saw some fun is being spread about selling land. Yes, you can sell land, etc., but land never belongs to a person, right? The people actually belong to the land. That is a natural law. So you can buy etc, even your own land, you don't own it. Why would that be coming? Territorial integrity, sovereignty, and upholding the Constitution. Why uphold the Constitution? Vanguards of the liberation, those who would have fought to bring the liberation. We go back to Supreme General Josiah Magamatongogara. He had liberated zones, places where he controlled in Zimbabwe, which were liberated and semi-liberated, which he already controlled. Of course, it said we would see him pass on. And he was not liked by a few characters who wanted positions. Who would these characters be? It is a story for another day, which we'll look into it. I still have CIA papers that are released from that time with the dynamics that was happening there, the political meddling there. Fellow Zimbabweans, let us remain united as a people, and let us remain responsible people. Chaos is looming. Anything can happen. Let us look at what is happening in Mozambique there. Let us be very careful of how we speak on social media. And of course, when we speak on anything, any grievances, let us bring a solution or suggest, right? Let us speak from a building perspective. Even if we are saying this and this is wrong, we should not curse our nation, but we should prophesy blessings on our nation. We should not demonize our nation. Right? With that said, anybody interested, I leave you with this. Look up the word toxicity and toxic people. What does it mean? Remember, there's a saying that you are the average of the 5 people you associate with. Right? 5 or 10 people you associate with. How do you associate? You can also associate on social media. The things we say, if we expose ourselves to a certain bias, we become that. And with that said, big up to Claudius Karungejke. Says Vanoziana Asangara. Good evening. He's in Zimbabwe. Says RP is in Zimbabwe. We saw him there at his Monomtapa offices. Tendai Chamunoro says, I hope he is safe wherever he is because we need him. And Asangara. Now, that is very touching, that message. They're coming saying we need him. All right. President Emerson Mnangagwa's term of office has expired. All right. These fanatics, they are free to support whoever they want. Zimbabwe, let us remember where we have come from. This is not a time where we can be having another leader who will stay the length that Mugabe will stay in office. One thing that is good about President Mnangagwa, he announced that I will abide by the constitution. And when he entered office, we saw him swore an oath. With that, I sign out. Dr. Clarence is the name. TV7 Live is the channel. As always, thank you for watching, and God is faithful. Timbers says 2030 anenge asisipo ndiri pano pa Zimbabwe goke nembudzia. I do hope so. If he still loves government, I think he should just come back as a vice president or some minister there, right? So that he doesn't tarnish his legacy, right? He should be running all other things, etc., right? We just need that relief from that long stint. We saw my Bamkuru, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, they're staying in office, right? We all want chances to be in that office. I also want to be in that office also, right? So they should be going, right? And those guys who say just because we fought the liberation war, we want positions, just by saying that, it nullifies all your sacrifices. You become not a hero. Looking at it from whatever perspective, be it a substantial or a non-substantial. Because kuzvipira chinoita kuti uti hero is kuzvipira for no payment. Ndo hero. Wekuda payment wa uhure. Shoko hero.